Jack McCormack for IrishBoxing.com in association with Winners Win, joined by Jay Byrne. Jay, another successful event here, Leopardstown Racecourse. You happy with how the fight's played out?
Yeah, it was again another mixed bag. We had an upset tonight. Obviously, Sarah Murphy fell short in her fight, but it was a great learning fight for her, although she only got a draw. But needed to learn after that fight. She will learn after that fight. We seen stoppages that, like Daniel O'Sullivan's stoppage tonight. Daniel Prejlovic doesn't get stopped. He really doesn't. He's been on a lot of Irish lads, doesn't get stopped. Daniel O'Sullivan ripped him apart tonight in there. Battered him to the body, you know. Nobody was expecting that watching that fight. So I think Paul Ryan got the perfect rehearsal for Croke Park. Out of the ring, hands are perfect, face hasn't got a tap on it. He's ready to shine now in Croke Park. Yeah, it was a great night all round. Thought Carl Sheridan was brilliant. I thought his boxing skills were really, really on point tonight. I thought he was excellent. You know, people don't understand what it's like to lose when you're not expected to lose. It's so early in their career. A lot of kids would have ran away from the sport and said, "Oh, I'm not into this. You know, it's hard. The ticket selling, and now I'm after losing. What's the point in this?" He didn't. He just knuckled down. He done a bit of tweaking to his training. Got back into Crumlin. Done a bit in Crumlin where he had done it growing up. And I thought tonight he put on a great boxing clinic.
Look, yeah, Carl Sheridan back in the winning column. Are you happy with his improvements that he showed tonight? And is the rematch with his previous opponent what you want next for him?
Yeah, I actually wanted that for this card. We wanted to go straight into it, he did, because I felt he won the fight. I felt like I'm not going to call robbery because I've said it tonight to a couple of people. If you're not beating them opponents convincingly, you don't deserve to win. And that was the situation in the last fight. I thought he'd done enough to win, but thinking he'd done enough, could it have been a draw, that's not good enough. And we tried it for tonight, but the kid got cut in his last fight, so he was out suspended for tonight, so we couldn't get him. So I'll look for that for September, yeah, so we can right that wrong and then we can move on.
And look, a small bump in the road today for Sarah Murphy. You know, a fight that she will learn a lot from. She said she agreed with the result. What do you believe Sarah will learn from this fight going forward that she'll be able to apply to future fights?
Young kid, no experience in the pro game. You know, you're going up to 6 rounds. She only ever boxed 3 rounds. You know, then she came into the pros, she boxed 4 rounds. I thought it was the right time. Thought she was excellent in her last fight. Going to her 5th fight, we said, right, let's get a 6-rounder. We done it. Now, that was a change of opponent late as well, but there's no excuse for the change of opponent. You can't go into a 6-round fight, your first 6-round fight, and go gun-ho in the first 2 rounds. You know, it's a war. You know, you can't do that in your first 6-rounder, and that's what happened tonight. A lack of experience, and then at times she could have boxed in the last couple of rounds. She boxed the ears off her one, you know what I mean, and won the last 2 rounds and got her draw, but you're learning. It's learning. I said if there's a blip in the road, take a rest. She's boxing very actively. She just wants to stay on all the cards. So she's being told now she has to go and take a rest and take a break. And then we'll look at getting her back in the ring in September.
And Kelsey Leonard gets another stoppage tonight. She's now 7-0, 4 knockouts. How much potential does Kelsey have given what she's achieved already?
Outstanding. The 2 girls tonight, Zara and Kelsey, and I know Shauna Brown is in around that way. Kelsey's a lot lighter. She's a featherweight. The girls are lightweights. I get that, but I actually think there's 3 really, really good girls in Irish in boxing at that in around that weight. You've obviously got Christina Desmond as well. I think we've really good girls there. Them girls, like Sarah's obviously a baby. She's under all them. She's coming up. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how many fights she's had. This age and experience and all like that. So she's miles behind them in that area because of their amateur career as well. I know she was a great amateur, but as a youth, I think genuinely if Kelsey keeps going the way she's going, someone from the bigger promoters is going to notice her and they're going to say, "Whoa, we missed a trick here. Have we got Ireland's next Katie Taylor?" Because the Queen is bowing out in September. And we need someone to take that mantle. And I know everyone's lining up to say they can take it and the whole lot, but you're talking in the ring, and Kelsey Leonard does that time and time again. And people might say, yeah, but look at her opponents. A lot of her opponents are durable opponents. But I was told tonight, get ready, Kelsey's going in to get this out quick. Now that could be in Kelsey's mind. She wanted to do it better than Zara Breslin. She wanted to do it quicker than Christina Desmond, or she wanted to do a better performance than Sarah, because these girls are for her. That could be in the fighter's mind. I want to put a statement. She can't keep making these statements and not get the rewards for it. So I spoke to her team. I have a big card lined up for September 26th, and I'm willing to work with her team to do something big that night for her.
Do you think it's a missed opportunity from, you know, not having her in Croke Park, getting the torch passed her by Katie? You know, she could have fought maybe a top prospect, TMA 18, for example.
Well, that fight was suggested, and I was actually part of trying to make that fight. I did make that offer to Kelsey's team. It wasn't refused, so just so you know, it wasn't refused. But again, look, it's opportunities missed for a lot of people on that card. They're saying it's an opportunities missed in the whole lot. Matchroom, Brian Peters, Aiken Promotions have done an outstanding job on that card, an outstanding job. Anyone that can badmouth about the undercard or say, that fight's not great or that's a one-sided fight or anything like that, please sit back, take a back step and look at it and say, that show sold out for Katie Taylor. They could have put nobody on the undercard. They could have just had Katie Taylor and a few singers and maybe brought in Irish dance and brought in the Wolf Tones or something like that and made it a great day entertainment for all the families in Ireland and just put Katie on at the end. And then when Katie's on at the end of the night, it's still Katie that everyone paid to go and see. But they didn't. They built an undercard. They gave Irish fighters opportunities and they couldn't give them all opportunities. So that's where it's at on that. That's my opinion on that. I think people need to accept what they've done and agree that they've done a fantastic support. Did I see a post this morning or yesterday? The government are now looking at funding boxing because of the impact of Katie Taylor. Again, the woman is just bringing this sport to another level. Now the government are actually going, we actually have professional boxing in this country. You know, they probably should have noticed that a long time ago, but it takes, again, Katie Taylor to do that. So be patient. We've Aaron McKenna, Pierce O'Leary. These lads are going into massive fights next month. Who's to say they won't go to Croke Park? So let's just say if the country can get behind them lads, and maybe some of the prospects that are coming through now, the way they got behind Katie Taylor for Croke Park, in Croke Park every year then, the public and the country have to get behind these events. Small, big, build them up, and let's do Croke Park regularly, like the way England does Wembley regularly.
Okay, you had the McKenna brothers here tonight, Pierce O'Leary as well, back again. I interviewed Pierce after the last show and he said there was a few fantastic fights in the card and gave praise to Glenn Lynch in particular. How does it feel, getting endorsed by Ireland's best boxers right now?
Yeah, look, it's fantastic to have these people come to the shows and the events, and we've been lucky. I just said to someone there, we've done 13 to 14 events. We've never had one row at one of our events. Everyone always says the clientele and the people that come, there's always a great atmosphere, it's a great crowd and the whole lot. And I feel that's led from the top down. I think we try bring entertainment, we try make it family orientated. People do say, is it okay if I brought a kid down? What price is the ticket? What was the kid? He's 3. I'd say, don't be silly, you're not paying for a ticket for a 3-year-old. When you're going to the big events, you can't do that because you buy tickets in Ticketmaster. So you have to buy a ticket if you want to see for the kid. We'll help as much best as we can with kids like that. You know what I mean? A kid come in the door earlier on and he get a €50 ticket with his mum and dad. We're in ringside and he's like, Jay, is there any way he'd be able to sit in? He'd even sit in my lap. I just took a €50 ticket off and went and got him a ringside band and put the band on his wrist and said, get into ringside with your mum and dad and sit in your own seat. You know what I mean? It's not always about money. It's about grown a nice brand, and good people will support the brand. And we got a fantastic shout out from Eddie Hearn last week at the press conference. Pierce O'Leary saying good things about us. They're not saying it if we're not doing things right.
Look, going back to this card, almost every card has a fight or fighter that steals the show, whether it's a big knockout or a great performance. Who do you believe stole the show tonight?
I thought it was some great performances. Daniel O'Sullivan's performance was probably the best performance. Carl Sheridan's boxing performance was brilliant. But look, I got to put it to my man again, the most ravishing man in Irish boxing, Paul Ryan. Again, he just put on a clinic. In a fight he was always going to win, we know that. But did you see the crowd at the end, the atmosphere from at the end? That's stealing the show. When you're only in a fight that's a ticking over, keep a busy fight, keep the ring rust off, you keep it relevant, and you still get a turnout like that, you still get an atmosphere like that. And to me, that's stealing the show.
And tonight you announced in the ring Conor Kerr versus Bayo Alabi. You've already announced a few other fighters for your September 26th card, the Judgement Day card. What more can you tell us about that card in terms of matchups?
What fights do you know on the card, that are on the card?
That one, Kelsey Leonard's on it. I know a few single fighters been on it.
To be honest with you, there's no single fighters announced on the card yet, bar Sarah Murphy.
Yeah.
Okay. Tonight or tomorrow morning, I will announce Bayo Labby against McCormack Kerr, as we did tonight. That will go out officially tonight. We have a Celtic title fight on the card. Richie O'Leary versus... Richie O'Leary's the 160 champion, fighting O'Shane Tracy for the 154 title. 2 unbeaten fighters, putting their O's on the line. Massive fight. I've spoke to about 5 people tonight. No one can split them. There's a couple saying O'Shane, there's a couple saying Richie. A lot of people are saying, oh geez, O'Shane looks really big now. People are saying, oh, Richie O'Leary's class, though he's brilliant the last fight. That's a big fight. We have John Boyd returning after a year out of the ring. He's fighting Sean Murray. Big fight. You know, going straight into a domestic after that amount of time out. Big fight. And then a fight that is done as well. Peter Carr's back after his fight of the year, fight of all time, against Paul Ryan. But he's going straight back in the deep end, as is another man whose last fight was being beaten by Paul Ryan, Edward Donovan. Massive fight. And we have another big fight to announce. Sunday, we'll announce a big fight. It'll be an Irish title fight as well. And then I'm hoping to do Kelsey in a bigger fight because can't get Irish opponents, can't get Celtic opponents, so we're trying to go bigger for her on that. But that will all depend on personal life arrangements, holidays and things, and finances and things like that we have to look at with our team, because I don't manage or promote Kelsey, but I want to help as much as I can. So that could be another one. There's other fights that we're hanging in the balance there. There's still a couple that we might do, but I want to do a full card of 50-50 fights.
And Tony Glynn was supposed to fight on this card tonight. Is Tony Glynn versus Aaron O'Donoghue a fight you still want to make for your September card?
No, not now. Tony's been out of the ring too long. He needed to come back tonight and get a good win to go into that fight. He didn't come back tonight. It wasn't Tony's fault. It was he couldn't. His brain scan was supposed to be on a date, and they changed the date and cancelled it. And he wasn't. It's not getting done out till this week or something. So it messed him up. He only found out on Thursday or Wednesday or something like that. So that messed him up. So no, that fight no. Aaron now is just, he's ready to go. Tony needs another fight to come back. He's been out of the ring for too long. But there is other options there at 140. I have a potential option in mind, but I won't mention it yet. But there's a fight there I think is a really good fight. But I will wait now for a few weeks before I even look at that one. Let Aaron go and enjoy his win tonight, and we'll see how that goes.
So back in the National Stadium, do you believe this is going to be your biggest card, your best card to date?
Yes, I've said that in the last two, and I've done that because we had the Dean Walsh and Daniel O'Sullivan fight, which was, someone said to be the best Irish title fight they'd ever seen. And then the next stadium card, we done Paul Ryan and Peter Carr, which was the best ever fight I've ever seen live. Will we get a fight like that? I don't know, because you never know. But in regards setting up and giving myself a chance of doing it, if I put on enough 50-50 fights, one of them has to set fire. Yeah. And I believe Bayo and Conor Kerr was a big fight as well. I think the O'Shane and Richie fight, Peter and Edward, John and Johnny, there's 4 50-50s down the line that you go, oh, they could be tasty. So with that, the other one I'm going to add, and maybe another one, and give myself a 5 or 6 chances of it happening. But I think it'll be our biggest card, and especially if you bring in a bigger body for a Kelsey fight or something like that, it could be big.
And in Dublin alone, you've held events in Leopardstown, the National Stadium and the Warehouse. Are there any venues in Dublin you'd like to tick off the next year that you haven't been to yet?
Three Arena. Don't think I'll get there in the next year though. I think maybe 18 months. Maybe. I think we could get there in 18 months. We wouldn't do the full one, probably do 4,000. Right. But when Paul Ryan has his coming out party in September, the whole world is going to know him, especially Ireland. So people are going to want to know, who's our man who walked out in that gown and, and come in and put on a boxing display as he's going to, and a job he's going to do. I think we'll have as I said in the ring tonight at the end, Dublin's next superstar. And I believe then we can go to Tree Arena with Paul Ryan headlining for big titles, because that's our plan. Paul's a big ticket seller as it is. We don't have to go into the away corner to take a chance in a 60-40, 70-30 against. We can do that at home with Paul, 70-34, 80-24. The right opponents, the right time, get him into the rankings, and who knows where Paul will be this time next year, because this time last year Paul was at a loose end. Paul thought his career was nearly over. I was in around this time, the WBC tournament, but he's come, we've had a chat, we've come back. He had a great win against Edward in a tough fight. He had a massive win against Peter Carr in an Irish title fight. He's had a good ticking over fight here tonight. He's going to Croke Park in September. Not bad for the year, with a little small promoter that doesn't have the backing. You know, it just shows you do your job right, and you go to a guy that is willing to put his all into you. You can get to the places. You don't always have to be having the big backers behind you.
And going back to that Croke Park card, 80,000 people. Most of them aren't boxing fans. You know, they're not even casuals. Do you think after them going to that fight, them turning to boxing fans, it will trickle down? You know, they'll start coming to all these cards as well, make these bigger, and yeah, fill out this arena for yourself in the next year or so.
Well, please God, because wouldn't it be great, instead of seeing a 3 arena show by Queensbury, who are a UK company who do great work, being filled for them, Zuffa coming in, an American company, looking ran by a Saudi, you know, by an American that doesn't even like boxing, fill it out for him, and fill it out for our own. You have a man here that's from Ireland, he's from Dublin. You know, get behind his crew and fill it out and let us do that. Because if we filled it out, we could do it regularly. We don't have to wait and go, I hope they come back. It'd be great to have a show in the 3 arena. Hey, we have Jay there, and he has 20 odd fighters, and he's working with every other fighter in the country to bring the biggest nights to Dublin. So we could do the 3 arena 2, 3, 4 times a year if the country gets behind us. And please God, after September 5th, when Paul goes in and shows exactly who he is, what he is, that will trickle down, and as I said, 8 months.
And you had a show in Belfast before. Would you ever go back to Belfast? You know, have another show there?
Yeah, we will be back to Belfast. I'd love to this time next year be going around the country. I'd like to be sailing around the country there, maybe do a show in Cork, do a show in Midlands, down in Wexford. I've Dean Mulch down there now. I work with David Kennedy on a few occasions. There's a couple of fighters down there. Zara Breslin is from Waterford, I believe. You know, there's good people down there. You know, I'd like to get down and do shows down there. Maybe start at the bottom down there and start building it up down there, and maybe go to Galway. I have a great relationship over there with Kieran Malloy. I have a great relationship with Wazam and MF Pro. You know, let's go to Galway. If it makes sense, I'll do it. If I meet people and I sit down with them and I say, right, if you want me to do a show, I need to bring in this amount of people. Can you as fighters bring in this amount of people in your area? And I'll do the show. If they say yeah and give me their awards, I will take the chance on them. If they screw me over, see you won't have another show down here. You're none. If they do it right, we'll do it again. And we'll do it again, because I believe when people come, they want to come again. And that's my job. Their job is to get them here. My job is to keep them coming. And I believe we do that well.
And he said in an interview previously that, you know, your September card, you were almost promoting MF Pro. I interviewed Cali Saraland a few months ago, and he told me that he wants Kieran Conway to headline in Galway. Kieran Malloy, my bad. Is that something you do with him? Co-promote with him for that?
Yeah, the lads are great. I helped with the 3 arena card. I've boxed on their card before. They are a top team of people. Really, really good people. Not just the top lads at the top, the whole way down. They're a fantastic team. Kieran's a fantastic young lad. His father is a lovely man. I have a great relationship with him. So, I've 100%. If them guys needed an undercard to fill out a place down there, they know they just ring me, Jay. Who's going to do numbers? And it's all about numbers. So I say, Jay, who in Ireland will do numbers so we can fill it? Because everything has a number. You have to hit a number to make the number that covers everything. And I know they'd reach out to me and do that. And of course we work with everybody. You know, every fighter that's in the country, every manager in the country, every promoter in the country. We have worked with them, or we will work with them if we haven't already. And that's just who we are and what we are. And the day that changes is the day I close up shop and walk away.
That's perfect. Appreciate that, right? Thanks for your time.
Thank you very
Congrats
much.
on the show, yeah.
Well done. Brilliant job.